In this video, we are going to talk about Mog, some of its recent price action, the important support and resistance areas, and where we can expect the price of Mog to go in the next few days and weeks. So we'll look at the weekly chart, and what we can see right here are these trend lines as I have drawn in previous videos. As you can see right here, since 2024, Mog has basically been in this downtrending channel, creating lower lows as well as lower highs, other than this one exception back in the mini alt season in late 2024. But throughout the entire year of 2025, Mog has been struggling significantly, and it held this channel with these trend lines very strongly. And right now we are pretty close to the lower part of the channel. It very recently nearly hit the lower trend line. We could even say that it did hit it. It depends on how we draw it exactly. I would say that it didn't quite get there, but it was pretty close. It also hit this trend line very briefly a few months ago back in the October liquidation event, and in the last few weeks we've seen Mog getting a slight recovery, and it is looking like it may have potentially bottomed out right here. This might be the reaction to the trend line already, although since it didn't quite hit it, I am still a bit skeptical about it, and I would be a lot more confident about this rally continuing if it actually did hit it. Of course, this rally came together with Bitcoin getting a slight rally as well. Bitcoin is currently at just over 95k after it went all the way down to about 80k in the last few months. So if Bitcoin just continues its rally right away and heads to over 100k and perhaps even gets close to its previous all-time high, and we see Ethereum following it, and we get a much better sentiment in the entire crypto market, then Mog could just continue rallying from here. It doesn't necessarily have to exactly hit the trend line, and it could just get a rally all the way up to the upper part of the channel. This would be a rally of over 400, nearly 500% from where Mog is at right now. So of course, this would be an absolutely amazing rally for anyone holding Mog. But as I said, I am still a bit skeptical, and I think that it is still very likely for Mogcoin to actually get another dump and actually touch the trend line this time. This trend line does seem to be very strong. As you can see, it exactly hit it basically 3 times in the last couple of years and got a very significant rally from there every time, almost instantly. So I think that it's probably a bit more likely for us to just see Bitcoin not immediately doing that well, or even if it does, then most altcoins, especially the low market cap altcoins and the meme coins like Mog, lagging behind it. So whether Bitcoin does very well right away or not, I think that it's still a bit more likely that we will see Mog continuing to not do so well. I think that it's more likely that we won't see Mog getting an explosive rally right away, and we would first need to see Bitcoin doing very well, followed by Ethereum doing very well, and then the rest of the altcoin market. And during that time, we will see Mog consolidating or maybe even dumping slightly to actually hit this trend line. But then again, as I said, the structure is actually not looking too bad at all, and it did nearly hit the trend line, and it depends on how we draw it. So it's definitely still possible for Mog to just get a rally from here right away, especially if Bitcoin does very well very soon. I just think that it's still a bit too uncertain, and there's still a high likelihood of Mog continuing to struggle in the next few weeks. And Mog is also just a very small market cap meme coin. It's incredibly risky. So of course, this is not financial advice whatsoever, but I don't think that it's really worth the risk at the moment. I think that it would be much better if it actually does hit the trend line and then gets a rally from there, and we actually see a trend reversal. What would confirm it is if Mog crosses this local high. And also in general, I would be very cautious with altcoins at the moment, especially the low market cap meme coins, because for the altcoin market as a whole to start doing well and outperforming the larger assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, we would first need to see Bitcoin and Ethereum themselves doing very well, getting new all-time highs for us to see any type of alt season. And with the sentiment in the crypto market not being that great at the moment, and with Bitcoin and Ethereum being a lot lower than their all-time highs, it is very unlikely for the entire altcoin market to do well. Of course, there can be some exceptions, and Mog could be one of those exceptions. It's not completely out of the question, but I would personally not bet on it. Again, this is not financial advice whatsoever, but that's just what I personally think. But with that being said, I think that later on, potentially Mog could be one of the better performing assets in the altcoin market. As I showed you before, it does have the potential of getting a rally from here all the way up to the upper part of the trend line, which would be a rally of nearly 500%. And there aren't any very significant resistance areas leading up to that. Of course, there are some right here but nothing that really jumps out on the chart. And a rally of 500% for a small market cap meme coin like Mog in a very short period of time is really not rare. We've seen it happen many times in the past, and it's something that could happen very quickly within a couple of months. So Mog is definitely one of the altcoins that I am going to be looking at in the next few weeks. So make sure to subscribe to not miss any future updates about Mog, as well as other altcoins and meme coins. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.